All right, good evening and welcome to the Town of Douglas Planning Board meeting of September 24th, 2025. It is Wednesday. This meeting is being recorded and broadcasted by Local Access Programming with remote participation available as provided on our agenda. I hereby call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Members in attendance are Jacob Schultzberg,
Meg Schlesman,
Aaron Sokrat,
Mike DeRose,
Rich Preston,
Mike Greco, Mike Swicker,
Jake Gnatic.
and Ernest Marks absent, excused. Okay. A&Rs, 140 Wallace Street, Paul and Beth Boudiette. Possible votes?
Yes, so, Mr. Chairman, the plan simply shows a new lot line created as an extension of the existing lot line that separates number 134 and 136. The proposed parcel 2 is not to be considered a building lot, and number 1 states that. It will be combined with number 134 Wallace Street, and the plan complies with the plan content requirements for endorsement.
Right on the water there.
There was an A&R that came before the board fairly recently to establish the property line down here where you see that wall with the right angle. Okay. So that this property looks a little bit familiar. That's why it threw us a little bit, but it's not the same. It's just for the next property up. Yep.
Okay. Board, any questions, comments, concerns?
It seems pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Yep.
Seeing as none, I'll entertain a motion to endorse the A&R for 140 Wallace Street, Paul and Beth Boudiette.
So moved.
second.
Made by Mr. Gnatic, seconded by, we'll go with Mrs. Wicker, he was the loudest. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Passes, and
If you want to take a break.
yeah, we'll take a quick break and just stamp the Mylar plans.
Thank you.
It's going to get,
And then we can get the Mylar.
that's an existing lot. This land
Yes.
is getting parceled off for that. That's number one.
So this, they both exist?
Yeah.
Just, okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah, I know, I get it.
I have a long last name with a lot of letters.
Oh, yeah, we got to go up this side.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Did I sign it? Or-
No, you guys get it.
I don't think Mike, you don't have to, no, because you're alternate. Yeah. ACDC.
Unless you want to.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
That's right, it's not a special, not a special plan.
We're supposed to do the paper ones too, right?
Yes.
Yes, because we have,
I'll do them.
Oh,
Are we stamping them or are you signing them?
Well,
You stamp the paper one.
We have to sign the Mylars and the copies.
Yeah, the copies we can do later on, right?
Well, no, we keep copies.
Yeah,
yeah, we can just do them later on.
yeah, I'm gonna do them later on.
If we could do them all now, then you don't have to come back and do them later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, that's, meeting going, if you just think about it.
There is something afoot over there. Oh, here they are. Guys with suits. Yeah, scary.
Mike, sign that one?
That's Bob.
No, that takes a pen. What's on the stamp?
There's an emergency in there.
Yes.
Would you stamp?
I saw it. Are you going to take my record right down? Do you want me to stamp?
Oh, you did.
There you go. That's the Mylar and this is the paper.
I know.
So we're all set with the Mylar, I suppose? Everyone's all set with the Mylar?
It's becoming valuable out here, right? I don't know. Desirable. Well, it's a little bit of insulation. Is that what you're saying? That's what they're saying. It's a little bit insulated out.
The water level is going to
I go. 770 feet. 40 years, 50 years, right? It's National Geographic. You know? That's interesting conversation. This is how we're considering things. I mean, that's like a major point. We're approved. Everybody's approved. Yeah. So, all right, let's see about the next one here. This is that other one that we talked about, the no entry to fire truck. Just hold up. Just wait for it until like the discussions talk outside of it.
All right, next up, discussion for 43 Manchog Street. Access, Mr. Dunleavy.
Shit, where'd my stuff go?
Right here.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Come right over here,
Oh, I'm
Mike.
down there
Yeah.
now?
Yeah. You're all right.
Mr. and Mrs. Dunleavy.
Yeah, you're good, Mike.
Okay. You sure?
All right, just name and address for the minute taker.
Deb Dunleavy, 43 Manchog Street.
Mark Dunleavy, 43 Manchog.
Okay, it is my understanding you just want to discuss the A&R possible changes that might be coming.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for hearing us. We actually put some information together, if everyone wants a copy, so that we could visualize, because we understand there was probably a little bit of clarification needed on the placement of a wall based on the meeting that we watched online, and then maybe fence discussion. So we have pictures of the layout, the house, and whatnot.
Pass it around. I'll get you one. Thank you.
I think there should be,
Should have plenty of 10.
okay.
Yeah, okay.
Am I short?
Need one more?
Here you go.
One more.
Here's another one.
Thank you. Here, you can use that one.
Oh, I have one. It's all right. So there was some conversation first about like the access being on one side of our existing house and then a shared driveway for the two proposed new lots on the other side of our house. And we just wanted to clarify why it was designed that way in case that the planning board had any question. So basically, there were two things. When we initially started considering doing a division, it was going to be a subdivision. And we have a sewer hookup that is on, if you're facing our house, it's on the right-hand side of our house. So we sort of envisioned things going up that way. But we have since decided not to do a subdivision. We decided just to do an A&R plan and do less lots, and just do like two in our existing house would be there. We have a U-shaped driveway as it stands right now. So we sort of pictured it being that one side of the driveway would stay with the existing house and the other side of the U driveway would be there to support the new lots. And it's near the hookup. So when this initial plan came to us, and it showed the access over on the other side of the house, my first thought was, oh, we have to have the utilities on the right side, not on the left side, so would it make sense just to put the driveway also so that you're not going up both sides of the existing house? So we would end up with 3 driveways in that scenario instead of just 2. So that's why we designed it this way with our engineer, so that there would be a shared driveway for the 2 new lots and not disrupt both sides of the existing house.
Okay.
And I know the engineer had said something about a wall, and there is a wall, but it's on the left-hand side and it's not disturbed by the
wall's on the
driveway.
right- the right-hand
I'm sorry, on the right-hand side, and it's not disturbed by the new driveway. That would actually remain. So the pictures, I don't know if you want to speak to the pictures. Mark took some pictures so you could visualize it.
Yeah, that stone wall she was just mentioned is on the right-hand side. It should be the first picture. Yeah. Of the right side of the house. We didn't want to destroy that. It's been there. Those old hand-drawn maps of the town actually have that wall in it with an old barn there. So it'd go up the right-hand side of our driveway and continue up. On the drawing in the front, as you can obviously tell that this is not done by an engineer. I did this with a red Sharpie and a ruler. But it would increase the width to 18 feet and would do a straight line in the middle. So in the middle where you had some questions about snow and other things, it would almost be like 25 feet wide there.
And it would remove the bend in the
And-
driveway.
yes,
That was
yes.
another big
Yeah.
point that the board made, is
Yeah,
that,
the double 45.
yeah.
It's a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it, like I said, it just makes it wider there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the whole thing with the bend was just, that was the utility easement along what will be the property line, and kind of became an easement for the driveway at the same time. But it's only shared up at the end, if you would. It's not, I don't know.
Okay. All right. John, Mr. Charbonneau?
Yeah, so what they are asking for is just some informal feedback from the board before they, obviously spend money to have the engineer revise their
Right.
plans, which is not inexpensive, which is understandable. They wanted to take the temperature of the board to see if what they're proposing as amendment would alleviate the board's concern to potentially move the board to consider approval of an amended A&R with the straight driveway instead of the bent driveway.
All right, and it's also my understanding 18 feet is the width for a common driveway in our bylaws, but this is a shared driveway, so it's similar, multi-use driveway, but I don't think there's a standard for shared, but there is that standard for common, and this meets that standard of 18 feet.
Right. And I mean, it's 18 feet is not two full lanes like a roadway would be, but what driveway is
Yeah.
on it, so.
And where the jog is now, that's going to remain about 25 feet wide there, you said?
Right there, yes,
Yeah.
with the right side. So if you look, I'm just guessing at 25
Yeah.
because it's 15 there and it almost looks about the same width, so that's between 20 and 30.
One of the other concerns was with two families living there, where's the snow going to go when they plow or whatever? And that gives some room, especially if that little red line to the right there, the two little curved line, that's where the
That's
driveway is for that house.
rough approximate.
Yeah, then that could be plowed straight out and down towards the Manchog Street, and then kind of in that area there it would be, because otherwise they're just going to push the snow straight across into your yard.
Yeah, I think the plan cleans up the concerns that the board had at the previous meeting on it, so.
I got just a couple things on it, is it's illegal to dump water on other people's property, correct? So on the average, we get 60 to 100 inches of snow a year. That's 6 to 10 inches of water you're going to be dumping possibly on somebody else's property. And that's why at the last meeting I brought up about the width, where if you have 18 is better, but if you had like an easement of 22 where the snow could permeate, and you're not dumping water on other people's property, which you will with snow. It all melts. We know that it does it every year. I was just trying to eliminate that problem where down the road, maybe not now, but like we see in other projects, there's water running every spring from snow dump. Lately, we haven't had much snow, but the New England average for the south is about 60 inches. We've had over 100. That's 6 to 10 inches of water. So just keep that in mind on whatever decision is made. And that's why the 15-foot driveway, it's fine. It's the place to put the snow to allow it to melt that's not dumping on another person's property.
I get it, but that, just with an A&R plan, that's kind of, we need
This is
to.
access, so we're looking at
Yeah,
feasible access.
we're getting into water runoff, so we gotta,
But that's part of the access. I'm going to say that right now. It's part of the access.
So they just, for an A&R, they need to submit a plan that meets the,
Correct.
the
Yeah.
A&R, right, subdivision regulations,
Yeah,
so.
and obviously, town council supported the board in its denial based on emergency access, so just again, trying to gauge what, if the board feels more comfortable with this as proper emergency access for that real lot.
Yeah, and even beyond emergency too, it was a struggle to vision regular access with that double 45, so I think the straight line does clear that up. And adding the extra 3 feet.
So it sounds like a positive feel for the amended plan.
Yeah, we can't vote on it, even though Mr. Dunleavy did a terrific job on this plan, we cannot endorse it, so.
Are we allowed to give temperature through the chair? Or temperature on this?
Yes. Okay. So I'm sensing that the board feels favorably about these changes. So if the engineer goes ahead and amends that and submits an A&R application, we can get it before the board and for consideration.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, guys. All right, moving right along, we have a public hearing for 7 p.m. Public hearing. Proposed amendments to Section 2.2 overlay districts, Section 2.3 map, Section 3.1.3, and Appendix A, Table of Use Regulations, and Section 4.13, and Appendix B, Table of Dimensional Regulations of Zone and Bylaws by creating a warehouse overlay district over parcels 15-8, or 115-8, 115-5, 115-3, 115-2, 115-1, 114-2, 114-1, 113-2, and a portion of 113-1 possible votes. I wish you guys gave me some more numbers.
Lay them on.
All right. Notice of planning board public hearing pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 5. The planning board of the Town of Douglas will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, September 24th, 2025, at 7 p.m. in the Resource Room, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Massachusetts. The hearing will be held to consider amendments to what I mentioned. Taken together, the above parcels are commonly referred to as pine, sand, and stone. Any person interested or wishing to be heard should appear at the time and place designated. Visit www.douglas-ma.gov for the agenda and Zoom information. A copy of the proposed amendments is available for review during regular business hours in the Douglas Community Development Department, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. 01516. Public hearing is now open. Todd? Todd and crew.
Todd and crew.
Not sure if I should be worried that you remembered my name and not theirs. We'll go with it.
You're the brains.
Yeah, at least the technology's working tonight.
Yep, should be good. I read on there.
I got it.
Got it?
Thank you.
Well, you tell me when I can start talking, and I'll
All
certainly do
right,
that,
just
right?
introduce yourselves for the record and the minute taker.
Okay, Frank Petkunas, representing CRG.
Todd Morey, Principal at Beals Associates.
Dan Bailey, land use attorney for CRG from Pierce Atwood in Boston.
Okay.
And with the chair's permission, if I could share my screen.
Yep.
We do have a presentation.
Well, thank you, and good evening. My name is Frank Petkunas, once again with CRG, and I know a lot of you might recognize me for the last couple to 10 times I've been in front of this board and in this building, but we're also the guys who built the big building at 123 Gilboa Street. Todd was our project engineer on that one. He'll remain project engineer on this particular project, which is coincidentally right across the street. So he remains the brain trust for all things civil on that. Dan obviously is an attorney, and he'll represent us on all things land use and legal in nature. So we have the subject site under contract, and we were considering entitling this to accommodate a number of larger scale buildings, much like the 123 Gilboa site across the street. We were approached by a very large and very reputable company about 2 or 3 months ago with an interest in building a 1.7 million square foot building on the subject site. And at the end of the day, they'd like to own it. They'd like to be a property owner, building owner within the township. I wish I could tell you who that is, but right now they're in the process of talking to state level representatives and things of that nature, so I can't divulge their identity yet, but I promise I can soon. What I can tell you is that this project will create more than 1,000 new jobs and obviously increase the tax ratables within Douglas significantly. So on this subject, the reason why we're here is because this building will be warehousing, logistics type of use, very similar to the one across the street, but they have a particular mode of operation in this particular building that requires a height that's higher than that which is allowed in the existing zoning category. So that's kind of why we're here right now. This is basically the massing of the project on site. I'm going to leave that for Todd to talk about, but if you could rewind a little bit and let Dan go through the subject of our request here.
Okay.
So, again, just for the record, Dan Bailey, and fundamentally what we've got in front of you is a proposed amendment of the Town of Douglas zoning bylaw and the map. The amendment of the bylaw would create, and the map would create, what we're calling a warehouse overlay district, which is limited to the industrial district, so there's no part of that overlay district that extends. A couple of these parcels extend into the residential district, but we've drawn it so it's just the industrial district. And the only thing that overlay does is change the height requirement or height limitation to 85 feet. We're anticipating building about 75, and Todd can get into more details on that. But we've been advised that we should go to 85 because in Douglas they include. Thank you. In Douglas, under the bylaw, in the building inspector's interpretation, utilities and things that are carried on the roof are considered part of height. It's not that way everywhere, but it is that way here. So what we're proposing is 85 feet. There are 5 or 6 separate parcels. Well, actually, probably even 1 or 2 more. Haven't read all of those that we're proposing. The process. We submitted it to the proposal to the select board. They transmitted it to you. You're required to have a public hearing. This is the public hearing. We have not yet. One of the things I heard you say in the notice is that the text of the amendment is on file. We have not yet filed that with the town or with the planning board. It's very close. I really just need Frank to tell me it's okay, but I just gave it to him today. So we should be doing that within the next few days. And, you will make a vote, town meeting, make a recommendation, and I think town meeting is November 4th. Selectmen have already. Is it November 4th?
November 17th.
I'm mixing up. Yeah, I've got one. I've got one in Nantucket on the 4th. That's what it is. So I'm mixing them up. Happy to answer any questions, or Todd can talk a little bit more in detail about the project itself.
Okay. The only point of matter I just want to make is this is a public hearing for the zoning overlay district. It's not a public hearing for site plan review, for use. Right. We're not going into crazy details about the site proposal, access, anything like that. It's strictly public hearing for the what was posted. So for the changing of the rules and regulations regarding the height in the overlay district. So,
yeah, so Mr. Chairman, if I can to add on to that. So if this project goes forward, there will be a separate public hearing process for the building and the development of the site itself at a future date. This is simply for the overlay district to potentially go before town meeting. The applicant before you is scheduled for a public hearing before the Zoning Board of Appeals next Wednesday for a height variance. So this is a two-pronged approach where if they're successful with the ZBA, and then the article would most likely be pulled before town meeting, but this is a necessary part of the process if it does go to town meeting according to Mass General Law. So this is a Plan B, if you will, in case, after, to see what happens with the ZBA next week, and if they're successful with the ZBA, then the article won't be necessary.
Okay. All right. So I guess I'll go to you, Todd, if you have more in the the presentation.
Yeah, we offer site plan and different lines of sight and things of that nature, only for context, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we thought people would, there's even stuff about our company at the back if anybody really cares, but I'm sure everybody knows who CRG is by this time. But yeah, Todd, just kind of say a couple things.
So, this plan's a little bit more advanced than a concept plan, but I do want to caution you, and as you mentioned, this is not intended to be a site plan review of any kind. So, but basically what we try to do is study the massing of the building, where it would fit best on the site, given all the other requirements that we had for vehicular parking, trailer parking, loading, and access and things like that. So what we came up with was a building that was fairly centrally located. It's just under 1.7 million square feet on a footprint. It's a state-of-the-art distribution warehouse, so there will be a lot of different types of activities that go on in there, but at the end of the day, it will function as a distribution warehouse. That's the intended purpose here. As you can see, we pretty much loaded around the building. There is a satellite parking lot off to this side that would be accessed by some bridges, but again, I think those are probably details that are more site plan review oriented. The big thing to note here is just the central location of the building on the property. For those of you that may have seen the prior iteration of what we were looking at on this with the 3 buildings, and I know some of you have, you recall there was one building kind of down in this area, another one back in here, and a third one up in this area here. So we had really kind of covered that entire property with the buildings. There's quite a bit more open space here that allows a lot more vegetation and some more natural storm. The way the building lays out itself is there's about maybe a quarter of it that is a standard height that would be very similar to what you saw over at Gilboa Street. 43 feet plus or minus at the edges, and then peaks up around 60 in the middle. The difference in this type of building is they need to go up to about 70 feet on the edges in that back area, the area that I have shaded in green there. We've kind of oriented that towards the back. The dimensions don't pop out as much as I'd like them to on this screen, but this one up here from the back, from the corner closest up to kind of right about where the town line is just under 1,900 feet away. If you take that same corner and go back to the ramp, that's about 1,277 feet away, give or take, of course. And then the near corner, closest to Route 146, would end up being about 670 feet away, just over 2 football fields away. Those of you who are familiar, and I'm assuming most of you are, you come off 146 in that area, you come shooting off that ramp. As you're coming along 146, it's fairly densely vegetated through there, and there's a lot of topographic changes that help screen this. There is one open area. I don't know if the trees were cut years and years ago and just haven't grown back, but there is one view shed into the site that happens way towards the back here, actually in the town of Sutton, but it is a view corridor into the site. What we've asked some architects to do for us, since they're a little bit better at the graphics than civil engineers typically are, is go out there, get some snapshots of 4 different viewpoints and model this and see what it would look like as you look into the site. So really, what we've done is taken them at Route 146, kind of as you get on the ramp here, as you get off the end of the ramp, and then another one down here near, actually it's probably closer to where the existing entrance to Pine Sand and Gravel is. And that's really these 4 points that are shown here. Again, we're over in Sutton now, but it's still on 146 looking into the site. Another one right at where the ramp starts to peel off 146, again at the bottom of the ramp, and again right about where Pine Sand and Gravel's driveway is today. This is the view from 146. You can't see it. And really the reason for that is there is a very large berm in there that with this layout allows us to just leave it alone. We don't have to get close to it. We don't have to cut any of the trees out of it. We just hide everything behind it. So as you're coming down 146, you just don't see that building at all. As you get to that ramp and you start looking in, what you see down here, right behind the truck, is you see a retaining wall that we'll need to put in to kind of help support some of the elevations up there. Then you see this corner of the building. This is actually the low edge of the building, the 43-foot side. The higher edge, the 68, 70-foot side, is right about there where I have that red dot. So if you look just below that red dot, that's actually the higher edge of the building that you would see from that viewpoint. Coming down, now you're at the end of the ramps, looking back up towards there. Again, you can see these retaining walls that wrap the bottom of the site. You look back up, and this face that you see right along here, I'll move the red dot out so you can actually see it, that's the low end of the building. From this viewpoint, you can't even see the high end of the building. And it's really just a matter of the perspective that you would look at. If you go up in a helicopter, you could probably see it, but from the ground, looking back up in there, because of the topography, you just don't see it. And the final view we want to share with you is this right here is Pine's existing entrance today, and you look back in, and again, it's the same story. You look in and you see that front face. The other thing I want to add is these renderings were really done just based on some quick sketches that we gave to the architects, so they knew where the retaining walls would probably be. As you can see, there's no landscaping in here, there's no vegetation, and being that far off, there's quite a bit of opportunity to create some berms and some further screening. We haven't even attempted to show that here at this point because we're so far from that. So I think one of the benefits of trying to do this on this particular site just is that central location of the building and being able to push it as far back as possible from that roadway. So, go back to the site plan. If there's any questions?
Board, any questions?
First hurdle first.
First hurdle first.
100% in Douglas?
Building is 100% in Douglas.
Comments? Questions?
I just want to emphasize, the only relief they're looking for at this point is from the height. This is allowed use by right, but the scope of the project necessitates site plan review, so it's not a special permitted use. It's an allowed use in that zoning district, and the only relief, like I said, is for height. What I would recommend at the end of this public hearing, I know you and I discussed this previously, my recommendation would be leaving the public hearing open following tonight in case something changes going forward, in case the board needs to accept new testimony. And the board's allowed to keep the public hearing open right through town meeting if they would like to. So that would be my recommendation, is continuing the public hearing without testimony, and then obviously see what happens when they go before the ZBA and see what the future holds.
If I could just add to that, I completely concur. I was going to jump in with that. The other reason to hold it open, at least for now, is to get the actual text, into the town clerk's office so people can review it, get it to town council so they can review it, and I can talk with them. We can go from there.
Okay. All right, so this is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience with any questions, comments, concerns regarding this? Let me just get one.
Yeah, do that first.
Just anyone in the audience for this project? Sarah, are you able to see if anyone's online for this, if they're raising their hands? Okay. Mrs. Sokrat?
Yeah, so just for context, I think it's great. Great for us, great for you. It works out. So 1.7 million square feet footprint. The site's about 10 million square feet. Is that about right? 222 acres times 40.
Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always like looking at it, so it's like 1/5 of the site. Not bad. I mean, how many sites we have there filled up 60, 70%? I mean, I know this is a very large property, just for the public to know.
Yeah.
It's a very, very large property. So the building itself isn't that big compared to the property. And you put it in the center, and I think that's a great opportunity there. So thank you.
Well,
For comparison, if you had seen that prior iteration, that was just a tick under 3 million square feet total. So that's...
right.
Thank you.
That's off. That light's distracting, though.
Chairman, I'll switch to that thing, right?
All right. Do you folks have anything else you'd like to add for this?
Awesome.
So the motion would be...
Good to see you guys again.
Thank you
The motion-
so much.
Good the
Thank
first
you
time.
for the time.
The motion would be to continue the public hearing to the meeting on October 8th at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Zwicker, second by Mr. Sokrat. Any further discussion? Seeing as none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous? All right.
Thank you
very
again.
much.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Hope to see you soon.
Do you have a pen? Do you have a pencil? Yes, you do.
Are we ready? Can we start this? This Blue Wave.
Okay, yeah, just give me one.
Sure.
You were, didn't recognize your new face, I don't know who you were.
We asked him to come back. Yeah. We asked him to come back.
Okay. Just get my bearings straight here. Okay. Moving into additional business, 45 Oak Street. I see we have our
Mr. Chair,
folks from,
recuse myself.
all right, introduce yourselves, please.
I am Bharat Srinivasan. We're from and for Blue Wave. This is Tad here. Tad's our counsel who's helped us with the project. This is Rich Kepner. Rich is our construction manager. And online we have Chris Drexel. Chris Drexel is our head of execution.
Okay.
All of the project management and the construction management is Chris's responsibility.
Okay.
I am Blue Wave's chief operating officer. My mandate at Blue Wave is to oversee both the construction teams as well as the operations team, the team that picks up the project after it's up and running and to run it forward. I wanted to come here and sort of meet all of you directly. Last meeting, I feel like we left a few questions answered. I did want to appear personally and provide both an assurance that we will get everything you need done complete and give you guys an update on what we've done since. I understand that we submitted the minor site plan amendment that we were requesting a little bit later for consideration. We understand it can't be on today's meeting and it has to be on the 8th. We understand.
Yeah, it was submitted, but it's late for this meeting.
Yes. We were really trying to figure out what the form was, what would be the right content to submit. We took some time to review the zoning code. We couldn't find exactly what was needed. So we did our best to submit all the information we needed along with the cover note. If there's any information we need to submit or give you in addition, we're happy to give you all the information you'd need.
Okay.
I also went through the site myself today. All of the pictures that show what the progress is to date are in here as well, along with the table of all the items that you had requested last week and their current status and the finish dates for those tasks that are in progress. If I could kindly ask to pass the line. Thank you.
John has one.
And for a little bit of history and context, we've been working on the project for quite a long time. First time the town saw this was probably in '21. We've seen a lot happen through construction. Summer was an ideal time to get some of this done. I will acknowledge to you that some of our team members did let some time elapse, but we've stuck with the project for this long. It's been through permits construction now for almost 6+ years. Construction alone lasting about 2 years. We really want to get this done, and we don't want to be a pain for you. We want to meet your expectations, finish the project out to your satisfaction, and keep moving. The first 2 pages here are the action items that were requested of us last week, or the last meeting, sorry, and much of this we were hoping would still be in progress at the time of this meeting. Rich was able to complete a lot of this today.
Okay.
The grass has been mowed. We've had the fire department, the deputy fire chief, walk the site with Rich. We have a list of requests from them. All of those are in progress. The Knox box, all the keys being identical for all the locks.
Okay. Well, what I want to do, just because it is nicely bullet pointed and organized, I just want to go through it one by one.
Please, yeah.
And if Mr. Fraser can come up and concur, or not concur with each step of the process.
And to be fair and honest, I never received a copy of it.
Okay. And have you been up there?
I did a site walk up there, I think it was Tuesday of last week with the fire department.
Okay.
If you want me to give you a little overview of what I saw when I went over there, I could do that.
Would you mind if we ran through the list, sir, because we've made a considerable amount of progress since.
Yeah, let's go through the list, and if it's under there, it's under there. All right?
Yep.
All right, so first thing, an action item, on-site orientation and training for town emergency personnel. I think we can install Knox box and main gate up and incorporate that into that, so.
Yep, we did have a Knox box on site. The fire chief asked the Knox box to be moved to a different location. That's been completed, right?
Yes, that's been completed.
So we.
Okay, so there's a Knox box is there?
Yeah, the Knox box has been moved down by the disconnect switch, or she wanted it to be a little quicker access instead of going all the way up the hill to get to it. She
Okay.
preferred it to be down closer to the bottom end.
Okay.
That's been installed, keys are in it.
Okay, and emergency personnel in town know how to access it and access the site?
Yep, she has a key for the Knox box already. Yep.
Okay.
These
Mr. Fraser?
additional keys get put in the Knox box for the disconnects and everything yet?
Yes, I made sure, I went out and got keys, locks made for one key. So all of our gates and the disconnect and the GOAB have one key to unlock everything.
Okay.
So I made it a little more simpler instead of getting all these dumped keys, this one for this one, this one for that one. I just went out and had the locksmith make one set with one key.
Okay, all right, so let's talk about status on the first one there, the site walk and inspection.
So that sidewalk happened. That was a meeting that Ken was referencing. Once some of the work is complete here, there's a second sidewalk that will happen with the fire chief, which will be like our final closeout, where they can verify for their own satisfaction that the work we're saying is done to their standard.
Okay.
Some of this, the signs got printed today. They'll be up next week, and that was another request. You'll see that later in the list. That's just status to say the sidewalk did happen. We had a list of to-dos from the fire department. They are in progress, and they will be complete next week.
Okay. One question, when did the Knox box issue, what day did that get resolved?
The 17th, I came back, I came back, what was it? Monday, sorry. I'm just trying to remember the date, what Monday was. This Monday is when I moved the lockbox.
This past Monday?
Yes, this past Monday.
Okay. So that would have been the 22nd.
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Fraser, any comments from the site walk?
No, as long as the fire department's been notified and the signage is being made that they requested and the locks are up and corrected and everything, we'll stay with the Knox box. That's all I had on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I've sent her an email, because she wanted to make sure all the signs are up, everything was done first, and then we're going to do a fire safety training for her and her personnel. So I'm just waiting for her to confirm a date for week after next, because next week we'll get the signs in, and then that following week I'll set a date with her. I told her anytime that date, so I'm just waiting on her to confirm her date for the training.
Okay.
To the board, there would be one question with regards to that. What was the decision on the gates? You have multiple gates going up the hill.
The one gate is when we get the approval for the fencing for the alter.
It was also submitted as a part of the amendment. So once we get your approval.
Yeah, once we get approval for that, once they come to do that fencing, they'll also take the other fencing down.
Okay.
The gate.
Yeah, the gates, yeah, just the gate, not a fence, sorry, yeah, gate.
Okay. Site-wide mowing.
So mowing was complete.
Yep, 100% complete.
Did the sides of the access roads get mowed all the way down through and all that?
2 feet, almost 2 feet all the way down, cleaned up around the GOAB and the switch.
Okay, including the center of the road on the perimeter and all that, that's all mowed down.
Yep.
Yeah, and you can see
Later
photographs.
photos.
Yeah, look in the back there, there's quite a few photos.
It's not really showing the access, you're showing, great pictures.
Yeah, a lot of
panels,
the
but the
site.
access way.
But yeah, yeah, I can verify.
You just got the one on the corner here, but going down the hills is not showing, so that's why I was asking.
Yep, yeah, they got that complete. I can get you more photos for that if need be.
Okay. Clean out basins as the presence of cattails may be a concern to Concom.
So this was one where, in speaking to the conservation agent, it did not seem like it was a problem. We're having a contractor come out and do the work anyway. The contractor is bringing their site crew back next week. So by mid next week, that cleaning should be complete. It didn't seem like it was a problem, but we don't want to come back here and like, you want us to take care of it, we'll take care of it. So contractor is scheduled to come back next week.
Okay.
Next week.
I think that's more of an issue for Concom because I'm not a cattail.
What we'll do is I'll reach out to Brandon through email and just confirm that with him tomorrow.
Okay.
Yep. I'm actually suggesting that we take care of it, whether they want or not, we'll just clean it out.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, we want to show good faith here. We don't want to be haggling over something small.
Okay.
We'll close it out the right way.
Okay. Site cleanup and trash removal.
So the trash was removed. There's one container for last minute stuff that we might require for the remaining work that needs to happen on site. That'll get picked up the last day we demobilize from the fence, the gate, the shed. So just one thing left, right?
Yes, that's down by the disconnect, that one little box down there. We left that there for just in case, you know.
Can you make sure that all the hazmats are out of there? The grease containers and oil jugs and all that were in there?
Yep, all gone. Yep.
Okay.
Been clean, yep.
Yeah, seeing the picture of the enclosement, the enclosed area for the batteries, I noticed that, yeah, the debris that was in there has been removed, so.
Okay. All right. Remove equipment and spare parts from the site.
Yep, it's been 100% removed.
That was within that battery area. They
Okay.
had some debris in there.
Okay, knockbacks, okay. Continue to provide SWPPP reports and construction updates. You have it ongoing? Any update on that?
So we will provide the monthly reports as we used to. Rich is the construction manager assigned to the site, and he will make sure the reports go out on time.
Yep. Yeah, I'll continue with them as they go through. We'll send emails out with them.
Okay, Mrs. Fraser?
Can you just make sure that I receive a copy of them?
Yeah, no worries, yep.
Okay.
Does anyone else need to receive the copies, just so it's...
Okay. It would be going to Concom and myself.
Okay.
Okay.
Just want to make sure you know right people, right boards.
In the past,
send it.
we've also sent it to Mr. Brandon Finn, if he's gotten a copy of those, so we'll make sure both.
I would go through Jen Kuchar.
Okay.
And go through the office, and they'll distribute it out.
No problem? Okay. We produce a report. Whoever needs to get the report, if you let us, we'll make sure everybody has it. No problem?
So, Mr. Fraser, you weren't getting them?
No. I got one report that I did find. It was on, I want to say it was 8/4, I think it was. It was a report I got. Prior to that, I wasn't getting into the reports.
I'm just shocked that you weren't, because I'm on the email chain where I've been getting them once a month, so I do, they are getting submitted, but I'm just shocked that you somehow weren't getting them.
That makes two of us.
Yeah. And that's a long email chain, so. All right. Okay, we discussed the minor amendment.
Yeah, we received those on Monday, so those will be on the next agenda.
Understood. We prepared this narrative before we got that communication. We'll be back on the 8th.
Okay. Are you on the same page with the possible farmer of what, I just want to make sure that, you guys are coming and it's what he wants, it's what, I just want to have it all together.
Drawings and the dimensions that were attached to the minor site plan were prepared specifically at his request.
Okay.
We had a farmer on staff, his name is Jesse Robertson. He worked with Buzz to get the specifications. We were prepared to build a larger shed. It was his request to build a smaller shed, hence the amendment.
Okay.
And the drawings, the vertical drawings, all of that was prepared for him. You'll see the title block on those drawings.
Okay.
Reference that as well.
All right, just want to make sure, since it's on for next week, if there was any dispute on it, it was taken care of before it came back.
Yep.
Okay.
Chair.
Yep.
So there was discussion about augmenting the soils. The farmer was concerned that the soils would not be good enough or have been stripped or whatever, rain and wash off. Have you done an analysis on the soils, or have you come into some agreement with the farmer? I don't need to go beyond that yet, but I want to make sure that he has the soils, the condition of the actual grass in order to graze his animals and make sure it's a success. Okay, so I don't want that to get lost because it's brought up again.
No. So just for context, the array, its revenue depends pretty consequently on us being able to farm. There's a requirement under the DOER tariff that we have to file an annual report with them. I did tour the site today, and I have looked at all the photos we had of the site overgrown. I will start with, we're not terribly concerned about the topsoil. However, there is a concern that was raised in terms of what's left, is it sufficient for growth? So Rich is going to pick up 10 samples of the topsoil all around the site.
That's right.
We're going to send it to the Amherst Soils Lab. They do this.
Where we
right?
sent it.
Great.
Yep. We'll get the NPK, the organic matter, the fines content, all of which to need to verify that it's in the right spot.
Perfect, that's what we want to hear.
Then we'll find out what we need to do. If it's okay, it's okay. If it's not, we'll deal with it. Yep.
Perfect, thank you.
Makes it a very objective decision.
When you get that, could you share that with my office so we have it for our files as well whenever that comes back?
Sure.
Can we add that, a bullet point for that,
Sure.
just so we can keep track of it?
Yep. I apologize. I don't know if you would give me your email address.
Yeah, John Charbonneau, Town Planner. My email address is on the Community Development website.
I have seen your.
Okay, great. So, yep. So just share that with me whenever that happens.
Yeah, so let's add that so it doesn't get lost for this. This is great. This is a step forward in a good direction. I like having it, laid out like this, and we can keep track.
The other thing is make sure on our irrigation that you submit drawings as to what you're doing for the irrigation that you're proposing. Your original plan showed irrigation throughout the site, and last I was told, you put a well in and that's where it's going, but there's supposed to be irrigation throughout the site. If that's not happening, that would have to be submitted as what you're excluding along with, for your minor amendment changes or whatever you want to call it.
I will make sure I chat about that with our engineering team and make sure if we have to ask for a small change in the drawings or add clarification, we'll do that in time before the next meeting.
Okay.
I'm aware that at some point you requested that we do put in the well during the arrest construction. We were going to propose a solar-powered pump, and between the last meeting and this meeting, we've taken a look at our own schematics, whether we have enough space for a breaker, and we do have enough space for a breaker to come off of our auxiliary. So we're going to power the pump. It's about a 50, 60 feet run to be able to power the pump. If that's not on the drawings for some reason, we'll give you a red line to make sure you know where we're putting it. That way, you have the full context.
It is shown on the drawings.
It is.
Yes, it is.
There you go. That's Chris.
I saw the electrical conduits drawn, but I'm talking about the irrigation lines that are supposed to be in the field under the panels.
We will make sure we either show you or give you the clarification as to what's happening.
Okay. All right. So remaining tasks, remove silt fence.
That's the date on which the contractor is coming back to the site with a civil crew. At that point, that will go away.
Okay.
With regards to that, when Brandon did a site walk, the recommendation was not to be removing all of them.
Yeah, we'll have to check with Brendan as far as what he wants to remain. He was pleasantly surprised at the vegetation growth, but I've got to check with him as far as what he's authorized to have removed.
I know especially around Basin 5, the main concern of that whole site, he was not inclined to agree with removing any of the storm materials out of there at this point.
Right.
He'd like to see a winter growth through and then look at it in the spring.
Okay, so maybe change that to remove silt fence as needed or required.
As approved by the conservation agent.
Okay. Provide common key locks for all site entrance gates.
This has a date of 3 October. This is complete today.
Okay.
Rich was able to pick up the locks and swap all of them out.
Yep. Okay. Finalize contract for shed construction.
We will do this as soon as we're able to. This was prepared before we got pushed to 10/8. It would take us a week or two to sort of reach a contract after things are approved because the drawings were on the scope of work. So a couple of weeks after the meeting, we'll have the work committed.
Okay.
Okay. Install remaining site signage. We discussed that.
That should be up next week.
Okay. Gate removal, fence relocation, shed construction, pump installation, equipment pad, flood light install.
So this lumps in all of the work. The fence and the gate will occur together. The rest will occur together. Contractor that's putting in the wire, the 60-foot wire for the irrigation, is the one that's putting in the floodlight as well. So they'll mobilize ones, do all of that work. much of that is waiting on the site plan amendment. So once that happens, then we'll have the mobilization set for the civil contractor, the fence contractor, and the electrical contractor.
Okay.
And once we have that, we're happy to communicate that to you and follow up with you on the finish date.
Yeah, most conversations that I've had with all the contractors, that they're ready to mobilize within a week after we get approval. So we can be able to get at things pretty quickly.
Okay.
Okay. And apron final paving.
This is the only one that's a little bit out there. We want to make sure that the work is pretty much complete and the trucks are not driving back and forth before we dress up the road again. Otherwise, you really don't want to waste the road that you put down. If we finish all of this before the temperature goes cold and the asphalt and the quarries shut down, we can get it done this year. If not, we'll do it in spring. We just want to make sure we put down the road and not have any damage occur.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can get all of this done in quick sequence, the asphalt plants have been closed. We'll finish it in November. If not, just give us till spring and we'll get that wrapped up. I did drive up the road today. It's not in bad shape, but we want to make sure this doesn't become a point that we're haggling over. We'll dress it up as soon as the work is done.
Is there a base or anything?
There's a base coat there.
Base coat?
There's a base coat
So
now.
it's just a
yeah.
top coat?
Yeah, we don't want to destroy the top coat. We got the trucks coming in and out with materials and stuff, so.
So there'll be some form of sediment control going out on.
Yeah, and stable ground.
Yeah. The rest is all photos. I did look at the before and the after for mowing. On one hand, we're pleasantly surprised that there's an issue of overgrowth. On the other hand, there's some concern around, hey, is it stabilized enough? Right? I did drive it on the entire site today. We're very happy with the growth we're seeing. And after the mowing, it's taken pretty well.
The top right-hand corner was the least vegetated up there. It was pretty sparse at best.
It's always an area or two that's a little bit sparse. We objectively, with the SWIP threshold we look for is like 80% vegetation, which is what the state says. Just by eyeballing it, it's north of 90% in terms of coverage. Obviously, depending on where you sample, you can either say that's 100% or zero. But we're pretty happy with how it's taken. We were concerned after the rain event. What gave me some comfort is just driving around and seeing how much.
There is some uneasiness as far as the difference between vegetation and weeds. Mm-hmm. Weeds are very shallow, their roots aren't very strong, so that's still a little bit of uneasiness from what I understand is.
That's what was leading Brandon to not necessarily wanting to remove all the stormwater control system up there, because the majority of that, it was vegetated, but it's a weed. It's not really a grass. There was some grass underneath. You can see it's shown in the pictures, but the majority of it was a weed, and it's all shallow rooted.
Weeds are not considered vegetation. Vegetation is vegetation.
The concern was
probably
a
will
winter's
point out
growth.
The mixture that we used to seed with this fuzz and buzz, and it was used for pollinator-friendly reasons, right? We've seen the best impact occur when you let it grow to a certain height and it flowers and it goes through. If we keep trimming it down to like a few inches, it wouldn't really serve the purpose that we used it for. Again, good faith implies winter, we're not going to have massive growth in winter, so we didn't really want to come and have a defensive conversation around, hey, should we or shouldn't we went and mowed it. But in reality, the purpose of putting in that specific mix was to be pollinator friendly. We'd like to let that grow, let that flower sort of serve its intended purpose. But we have to make some progress to earn your respect. We want to do that, we've done that. But the next year when we come around, we'd like to have a slightly different conversation on how much we let it grow and serve its intended use.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's going to be indicative of what the farmer is requiring up there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Mr. Fraser, are there any other bullet points or items you want to add to this, discuss?
We seem to have covered the majority of what's going on. I know that there was a question with regards to fire department for getting all the manuals on all of the equipment for fire safety and everything, just make sure that everything that they require is in their hands. We were also I was looking for some type of a maintenance schedule, which you're proposing for. We still don't even know what is the snow amount before you're plowing up there. What is your schedule going to be for mowing up there? Things like that.
Would you want that over a period of time, or would you want that as a part of the closeout? One thing we're also trying to get to is, summer would have been an ideal time to sort of list this out and sort of have this, but we are here where we are. We want to make sure whatever list we're tracking is the list we're tracking, that we work expeditiously to close that out. Just want to make sure that if anything's there, we get it on right now. So if you need it as a part of a closeout, we'll put one together.
I would require a maintenance document as to what you're going to be doing for maintenance on that site going forward.
Okay.
I believe in the part of the agreement, it was a yearly update on maintenance on the site for mowing and all that that was supposed to be submitted. I could be mistaken, I might be confusing it with another site, but I thought there was something with regards to that. I'd have to look it up again, just to know that we have people on site, that the grass is getting mowed, when it's getting mowed, spring, fall, middle summer, what height, plowing snow, what are, you know, when's it going to happen. I've got sites right now that a foot of snow's on the ground, and I call up and say, when are you going to plow the site? And, oh, we already did that. Okay. It's not done. So for fire safety personnel to get in there, we have to have these things maintained as they're prescribed that they're going to be.
We can get you one.
Mr. Chairman, I note for everyone's purpose, that's condition 37.
Condition 37.
Thank you.
There you go.
All right. Anything else?
Other than that, they're moving, going in the right direction. I'm pleased with what I'm seeing, you know.
Appreciate it.
Let's just get it completed.
We will get it done. You've hung by us for a long time now. We're in the final 1 yard line. We will close it out as expeditiously as we can.
All right.
Great.
Board?
I just want to thank you for coming in and speak with us. This has been going on for some time. I feel more confident that we're going to get this, we're going to close this out. Looks as if, in terms of at least the construction elements of it, that'll be done probably close to the fall, what have you. So thank you, and we look forward to completion.
We appreciate it very much.
Okay.
Through the chair.
Yeah.
Can you tell us who is going to be responsible for reporting back to us periodically? There's been a number of people over the years that have come before us, and
as time goes by, people will change over a period of time. Chris Drexel is our head of project construction. He will be the primary lead on our end to make sure you get all the updates. Rich will be the person on the field to get the job done. He will be here frequently, so if at any point somebody needs to stop by, if you'd like to visit, just let Rich know. But Chris will be the person coming back. He would have been here. He's got a flight tomorrow morning at 5, so I opted to come in. But Chris will be here for subsequent meetings whenever there's an update required. If he can't make it, I will make it myself.
thank you.
Great.
Once we close this out, we will have a dedicated asset manager who's responsible for the day-to-day operation of the site. That person's name is Joe McGee. We can make sure you have the contact information for Joe. The number that will be on the sign to call is a hotline that will ring. One of the persons that it will ring is him. So, you know, it's a stage line. You call that line, it goes to 3 people. I'm the 4th person on the line. If I pick up the call, it's a bad day. So, just to say, this is being followed very carefully. We will make sure it gets done, but Chris will be the person leading. If you have any questions, Chris will have an update for any of you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, and we fully expect to see you
On the 8th?
Yes.
on the 8th.
Yep.
And I know you're coming in for the amendment, but hopefully there's also just good news along the way too that you can report on.
Would it be valuable, I presume, when coming the 8th, to provide an updated version of what you have in front of you? So we have a second iteration so you can see.
Yeah, I think this is a good rolling document to work off of, and if there's additions or completions, it'd be good to keep track of.
Yeah.
If you can get a copy of this to me prior to the meeting, so I have.
Yeah, also, yeah, if you can, so we could have it in the board packets.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
think-
said.
Yeah, this is kind of the
Yeah,
photos
now
and
that
stuff.
we're meeting twice a month
Yep.
again, it's a quick turnaround, because we
Great.
usually require a week before, so.
Yeah, and I think this one was delayed only because there was some work that was happening today. We want to be as updated as possible. If we had sent it in, on Monday, there would have been still to-dos. We want to be able to show that things have been done. And a lot of that happened on Monday, Tuesday.
Great.
All right. Very well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks very much. Yep.
Thanks, Ken.
Hey, Ken, can I get you a mic? This one doesn't stay.
Mr. Chairman, I want to ask you, that look in your eyes when I want to ask a question. Is it fear or are you? What is it going to?
It's always, it's like, this is either going to be a massive firework or a very logical thought. And what's it going to be?
I'm back.
All right, Mrs. Wicker's back to the table. $53G.
Yeah.
Bond account refunds.
Yep, so Jen has provided a couple of small 53G accounts that are ready to close out, so we simply need the board to vote to release the remaining funds in these accounts. They're going to be, Jen's working hard to close out these accounts that have been on the books for a while with, small amounts. Again, it's good for the town to get these off the books because it's not negative money on our books, so just ask you to act on the 2 memos before you from Jen.
Okay. All right, we'll look at the first one for Douglas Properties LLC, Mr. Cliff Van Reed. Refund 53G account for Lakewood Estates, definitive 070924. The planning board rescinded the above project in 2020. And Cliff's requesting a closeout of the 53G and issue the refund. Do we know the amount?
No, she did not include the amount.
All right, so looking for a motion to,
Just vote to release the remaining funds in the 53G account for Lakewood Estates.
Okay. So I'll entertain that motion.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. DeRose, seconded by Ms. Schlesman. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. And the second,
Sleepy Hollow, that was Joseph Road that was just accepted at town meeting, and it's gone through the process of officially being accepted by the town with the legal paperwork being done after town meeting. So again, the remaining funds in that 53G account are ready for release.
okay, so I'll entertain a motion to release the remaining funds for surety bond and 53G account for Sleepy Hollow, JMT Sleepy Hollow LLC. Attention, Jim Pine.
So moved.
Second.
Made by Ms. Schlesman, second by Mr. DeRose. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Jen will be happy with that.
Yes. Chipping away at that.
I guess, John, we should make sure that Jen puts the amounts on.
Okay.
There's nothing that creates any conflict in here.
No.
In terms of records. Because if we're going to be making motions on it, we should know how much.
Okay.
It's always been a dollar amount attached on a release, which is fine.
Okay. We'll see it if we sign it.
All right. Before we get into these, all right, so we have a couple discussions coming up. I see some folks are in the audience. Is there a discussion matter you're here for on the agenda?
No, just observing town government.
Okay.
Okay.
People, we try to get, I don't want people waiting in the audience. If you're the last thing on the list, I'd rather get to you before so you can leave.
I appreciate it, thank you.
So one matter of business, I'd like to introduce Kate Connolly.
Okay.
She's our new town council.
Yeah, no need to wait till the town manager report to have her sitting.
I was here for the solar development. I can stay if you need me for the rest, or...
Do you need Kate to stick around, or I think.
And actually, it was helpful to watch the other one that's going to be coming up, the zoning amendment for next week.
Obviously, that's another public hearing next week for the variance, so if they're successful there, then this will...
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you all, too. I wrote all your names down, the ones I could see. And Ken told me the others that I couldn't see.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah,
It's my pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Nice to meet you all.
Welcome to town.
A couple of weeks, probably.
Yes.
Sorry?
Yeah, welcome to town.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kate.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything we...
No, there's nothing controversial.
All right, subdivision bounds list discussion. I see you found-
Yes,
you found
found the list. So, I've still got to check with Zach on finishing up Spring Meadow Estates. Right now, there's nothing on this town meeting warrant to fund this. So that's why, Mike was saying that this was, it was a recurring thing, but, I know that they appropriated funding at a previous town meeting to do Spring Meadow Estates, so it's going to be something where we're going to have to chip away at this, to ask town meeting for money to do this going forward. So the spring, I guess I could talk to Zach about getting quotes on some of these to see if we can get one or two knocked out next year and chip away at these. I mean, so...
Who's Zach?
Oh, he's with, I forget the companies. He's the surveyor who was doing, confirming the bonds from Spring Meadow Estates. I forget his company's name, I'm sorry. I have it in my office, I forget off the top of my head.
I do like seeing that it, shown on Plan 309, should be 359, so we're short 50, so it's not a big tackle.
And this is, look at the dates, 2021.
Yeah.
Don't know the current, and a lot of the select board members remember us doing this, so this is something that everybody's familiar with on trying to get this done.
Yeah.
It isn't like something new just coming out of the box.
Yeah.
So people will be more receptive to continuing to get this done and off the bucket list.
Yeah, and I like seeing that
going
there's
on for almost 15 years.
50 remaining. That's a easily tackable project. It's not like we're trying to track down thousands of these.
I think this is the main list right here, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I knew there was a list somewhere, but yeah, it's...
So it seems like some of these are okay, like Churchill Grounds 1717.
Yep, 5.
So we're looking for the ones that have missing bounds, obviously. So Brookside Estates is one, Darling Way has a couple, Douglas Hill Estates. So out of this whole list, not all of them need to be done. There are some that are all set, but there are others that need to be looked at.
And I'm assuming through the chair, there's going to be receipts on, because we've been paying contractors right along to do this. So there's a paper trail, no doubt about it.
Right.
And there's a town meeting paper trail also on it all being approved. So hopefully with that, I know it's going to take a little time. It's not going to happen overnight.
No.
So,
but we got to get
I'm not
done.
on the finance committee or anything, but with all the new revenue, I talk about it, you know what I'm saying, with all the new revenue that's coming to town, whether it's from marijuana or it's, solar or it's distribution centers, why can't we knock this out in one shot financially? I mean, we're talking about, a lot of new revenue, and I just think we should take care of business that's been going on for 5 or 6 years.
That's been going on more than that.
Or even more. Why is that something we can't do, John? What do you know about that? Something.
I think
I can't speak on that.
I think it's more practical doing it the way it has been going, where to get everything set up in order, what needs to get done, let's get it done. Then the next year, get it set up in order. I think it's easier to get 20,000 than it is 120,000.
So if we set up maybe a recurring request for $25,000 per town meeting, then we can build up maybe an account and get it done again, because I think that's what it cost to do Spring Meadow Estates was $22,000, $23,000. So I figured $25,000 is a reasonable request to start chipping away at these, and then it should be a pretty good amount to get these done consistently.
And I think at one time there was a recurring, but as personnel there was changeovers. It never got re-asked and redone and resubmitted or whatever. So for a while we went years without anything getting done. Then the discussion came back, almost the same thing. It's been a year or two, nothing kind of or whatever getting done. Now it's coming back, and that's what happens over time.
What I said to John when this list got found, it's just these are old, and it was planning boards long ago, Fairfax Way, I think that development, that must have been the 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to clean up
Correct.
past,
That's all we're doing. Yeah.
past stuff that wasn't caught a long time ago.
And wasn't requested for, and a lot of contractors just walked away from these projects. So nothing ever got done. Back then they could. There was nothing to keep them there. Did start 2/3 of it, walk away, nothing got handled, and now we're trying to clean up the mess.
And we've certainly learned learned lessons from the past, and we're trying to make sure these are done.
So I'll talk to Zach about that and about the idea of having a recurring amount for $25,000 at each town meeting, and he can give me ideas as far as whether that's enough to continuously kind of chip away at these.
The only thing is it 10 and under doesn't have to go out for bid. 10 grand.
Yeah.
That may have been why.
Yeah, I'll have to check on the exact amount. I'm not sure if it's 10 or 25. I'll have to check on that.
Yeah. But I think it's above that, then it has to just go out to bid.
Correct.
Everything like that.
Competitive bids, yeah.
If it might be 10. If it's 10 and under, it's.
Yeah, I'll check on that.
Okay. Mr. President?
Yes. Could we please, we had a discussion regarding this. I'd like to know what it is that's being identified. We had a discussion regarding the bounds, just what bounds are being identified, and we were sort of puzzled. We didn't really know. The board was very honest about that.
Okay.
John, can we get to the bottom of exactly what's required by us?
Yep.
Because in our subdivision rules and regulations, it just says, as prescribed by the planning board.
Right.
But I don't
That's one thing I'd like to look at, because in other towns I've worked in, it says at least a minimum of X amount of bounds. And it just sets it at it, so it takes it, it's not subjective, it's an objective amount for each project.
Yeah, and I speak anecdotally for Spring Meadow, they were digging up existing bounds. The bounds were there.
And sometimes these
They were
bounds,
3 or 4 inches under soil.
and sometimes these bounds are under people's driveways. They're not necessarily in landscaped areas or places that can be identified easily.
Or should it be, if we do that, the bounds must be exposed and visible.
Right.
Have language in there like that where that can't happen.
Right.
You can't go and just pave over it or put a sidewalk.
But if it's in the middle of someone's driveway, so the location of the bounds is important.
Yeah.
They've been using large pins, but that's not permanent.
No. Sometimes they've been, I think they've used pins in instances like that where they're.
Like a large nail,
Right.
not a rod.
No.
Yeah, okay.
This is a large nail. It looks like they were digging up concrete bounds.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I think the standard one they use now, it's like a granite, it's got to be 6 feet in length, because I actually had an issue at work with this, which I just want to kind of mention this, because these are older subdivisions that we're going in to fix. Just when we do start taking these over again, I just want to make sure that there's communication with the property owners and the development.
And there was, I know that Jen was, when I first started, this was in process.
Yeah.
And I was in communication with Zach as far as notifications that were sent out to the residents, so I know that did happen.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that happened, because we had an incident in Dudley. A company came in out of nowhere. People in this development had no clue. They started digging up their front lawn. They hit their sewer. They didn't have a dig safe, and the neighborhood was very razzled about what was going on. So
I can see why. I know that happened in this instance, and it will continue to notice will be given.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thanks for the diligence on finding it. That's a big help, trying to remember all these projects would have been a nightmare.
I always struggle with the subdivisions are a different name than the streets.
Right. That's been a big pet peeve of mine. I think when I worked in Rentham, there were multiple, I'm talking 5 or 6 subdivisions that had changed names multiple times throughout the public hearing and development process, and it just becomes, well, it used to be known as this, then it changed to this, then it goes to this. Why can't they name the subdivisions, if the main road is Leonard Road, then make it Leonard Estates. Emergency access, filing purposes, record keeping would make it much easier. Add to the list of things that after 25 years do not make sense to me.
It was usually named after whatever they destroyed to build it.
Yeah, Fox Run. Yeah, exactly. Oak Meadow. Yeah.
All right. Mr. Preston, have you down here for Master Plan Committee update?
Yes. So we met.
That's Wednesday.
Sorry. We met last Wednesday, September 17th. Discussion covered open space and recreation and cultural and historic resource elements, and John was good enough to share some traffic count information with us. That was very helpful. Our next meeting is October 15th.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I could do my town planner report before we moved on to the last additional item?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. So while we have members of the audience who are here observing government, you and I spoke about this, and I'd like to just not get too deep in the weeds on this, but address some things. You know, there's been some misinformation on social media about planning board activities and posting meetings and discussions and things of that nature. And in my career, I've had to do a lot of educating, not just the public, but new board members in terms of planning board's limitations with the law and what they can approve and what they can deny. And we've talked about some of this, and I just think it's important for the public to hear this, that the planning board not only is restricted by law as far as approving and denying projects, but also common sense sometimes. For instance, we've talked about this. When a developer presents a commercial or residential subdivision that delineates lots and proposes a roadway, if those lots meet the minimum dimensional regulations for that zoning district, meaning frontage, lot size, et cetera, not necessarily setbacks because they don't show the buildings yet. That's a different issue. But access. But if they show a roadway that meets town design guidelines, the planning board cannot legally deny that subdivision, residential, commercial, or otherwise. So people seem to think that the planning board can just deny what they want and approve what they want, and that's simply not true. So that's one of the things. And even with subdivisions, we're seeing it with the bounds of these old subdivisions. There are subdivisions that go on for a long, long time, and people, when we run into situations where roadways aren't complete, well, why doesn't the town just take the bond and finish the roadway? Two things. First of all is when a board establishes a performance bond to finish a roadway, the board can't just come up with a number and inflate it unlimited. The board is restricted to a percentage that they can account for inflation. And with the price increases of everything we've seen with materials and labor and asphalt and all sorts of materials, it's skyrocketed beyond the percentage that the state allows the planning board to inflate the cost of finishing a roadway. So they're hindered by that. And also, when municipalities do construction on anything, whether it's a roadway or whatever, it costs the town probably 2 to 3 times what it costs the private sector to complete a project because they're bound by certain laws, prevailing wage and things of that nature, and putting things out to bid and all that stuff. So there are limitations that the general public may not be aware of. Also, when you have a large subdivision, and I was previously in Rutland where they have subdivisions that have 100, 150 homes, and you have a subdivision that's 75% complete, and you're trying to get the developer to finish it the right way. People could say, well, why don't you just rescind the approval? Well, when you're 75 houses into a subdivision, that's not always the best course of action. So the board is sometimes forced with a very difficult decision of do we follow this very lengthy, expensive legal course of action to take a bond or rescind a subdivision approval, and then what? How is the rest of you're left with incomplete roads, incomplete lots, sometimes foundations, wide open foundations that aren't finished. So again, these are difficult decisions that sometimes people on the outside aren't involved in and don't see and sometimes don't understand, like we're dealing with the solar project at 45 Oak Street. It's not as simple as, well, let's go take the bond. Well, that's a very lengthy, expensive legal process to go through. Or people say, okay, we have this land coming out of chapter land. Why don't we just buy it and preserve it as open space? Small towns especially don't have the money to spend $1 million+ to buy a piece of property to preserve as open space. So I just think in fairness that, I don't expect, nobody expects the public to know these ins and outs, but they do exist. And that's part of the reason, my department exists, is to answer questions and to educate people on what the limitations are. And, that's part of my job, is to help guide the board on Mass General Law and the open meeting law and everything, and Jake and I work very closely on that. And we always make sure, whether it's a discussion, public hearing, whatever, that's posted properly according to Mass General Law. And when we do a zoning bylaw amendment, there is a detailed form that we have to send to the Attorney General for every single zoning bylaw amendment. And there are timeframes we have to work in. It starts with the minute it's submitted to the Select Board for consideration to refer back to the Planning Board for a public hearing. That referral has to happen within 14 days that it's submitted to the Select Board. We have to have those dates. Then we have to schedule a public hearing, and the public hearings has to be within 65 days of that. And then we have to include copies of the public hearing notice stamped by the town clerk. That has to be done at least 14 days prior to the public hearing. We have to include the 2 legal ads as they appeared in the paper to the Attorney General's office. Then we have to put the date down. We have to notify DHCD, the Regional Planning Agency, and every single abutting community of any zoning bylaw amendment that goes forward to town meeting. And it's a litany of dates and documentation that we have to do. So one year when I was in Framingham, we had 10 zoning bylaw amendments at town meeting. It was a book like this submitted to the Attorney General's office. So our documentation is very thorough and very precise and very detailed, and we have to make sure that we abide by the law every step of the way. So I just wanted to put that out there that please, whether it's the people here tonight or the general public, things aren't as simple as they seem in attending a meeting. There's a lot of complication, there's a lot of laws, there's a lot of things that tie the planning board's hands. And there are a lot of, to be quite frank with everybody, in 25 years, there are a lot of laws that don't make sense to me. Like when someone does a 100-lot subdivision, all they have to do is notify direct abutters of the property according to state law. But if somebody with a small lot wants to build a deck and extend 6 inches into their setback, they'd have to notify everyone within 300 feet. And some of these small communities, lakefront communities, that could be 30 people. Does that make any sense? But those are the laws that we're bound by, and those are the state laws. So there's a lot of stuff that happens at the state level that really we have to abide by, and we may not agree with it, but unless the state law changes, then we have to abide by their laws, and we may not agree with it, but we have to abide by it. So I just wanted to put that out there, not in an angry way, not in an aggressive way, but I always encourage people, if you have a question on something, contact my office by email, by phone, come in personally. I'll always make time for anybody who comes in. I have an open door policy. I'd be happy to discuss anything with anybody at any time. So.
Thank you. Sweat.
Yeah, thank you.
It's awesome.
And I want to mention that something that was completed today was I've been working on for the last week our accessory apartments that have been approved. I completed a spreadsheet today to track all of the accessory apartments, and I color-coded the spreadsheet. Green are the ones we don't have to worry about because they were either withdrawn or they never built it. Yellow for the ones that are going to expire in the next year or two that I have to keep an eye on to make sure they come before us. And the ones in red are the ones that have already expired but haven't been back before us, or the ones that are about to expire in the next few months. So I just provided that to Ken today, so he's starting to go through the list to actually go through them and make sure that we're on top of this. And, for instance, I went by notes that Jen provided to me and my predecessor and consolidate it into one document. And since I'm a very, very visual person, I decided to color code it so I could easily say, okay, these are the ones that we have to have come before us. I will not overwhelm the board if we need to have people come forward for renewals for their accessory apartments. I'm not going to put 10 on an agenda.
We haven't had any come in for a while, so I can only imagine that it might be.
Yeah, we have. I think we have about I think there are 65 on the list. I'd say there are probably about 25 that are either about to expire or have already expired within the last 6 months and need to come back before the board. But we'll bring them a couple at a time. We're not going to have 10 at a meeting. We'll have 2 or 3, and it's not a public hearing. They just need to come back and basically renew those.
But they hold it out to see if the state approves.
Right. Potentially, and that's another thing that Ken and I are about to work on. Before Ken retires, we need to work on that accessory dwelling unit / in-law suite.
Right, because a lot of it, people were getting ready to come in, and we told a lot of them to stop, hold, wait, and let's see what goes on with the state.
Right.
But now it's still in limbo.
Right now, we're still going by our existing bylaws.
I'm going to speak here. We told them to stop coming in because of what was going on. So a lot of them probably figured, okay, I haven't heard nothing, it's gone through. So a lot of it could be a wait and see, don't know. I know we're trying to do what's written now, but we also know what was coming down the pike, and that was the whole deal. We're the ones that decided not to have them come in. So just remember that when they made contact, where it's kind of like, we know we told you not to worry about it, but right now things are still on hold, and at present, we still need to follow what we have on the books, because we don't have a timeline yet. So it'd be a very informative thing to speak out on this aspect.
Yep, so the goal is to have something prepared for Springtown meeting, and I need to confer with Ken before he retires, which I don't know when that's going to happen, but I hope for the best, but try to prepare for the worst, meaning if he retires sooner rather than later, I want to make sure we have this done and ready for the Springtown meeting. So
hopefully we have the answers from the state. We can.
Well, we do. We have enough guidance, because what happened was initially they were trying to urge towns or pushing that towns could not basically multiple ADUs, but you could allow them by special permit. Now they've gone back on that towns do not have to allow multiple ADUs on the same lot. So that's been a change over the last few months. So that's something that's going to influence this bylaw, because now.
Well, we already have a bylaw. What it is you just remove that out of it. If everything else is fine.
Well, I wanted to, from what I understand, and again, this is just so I'm going by, my predecessor was the one who worked on this. From what I understand, he did a deletion and replacement. And in my opinion, because how we handle things in Rutland, I think that might have been a little bit rash. I would prefer to take a scalpel rather than a sledgehammer, just to use a crude analogy. So I want to take a fine look at this, because I know Ken really wants to reestablish and maintain the differentiation between accessory apartments and in-law suites, because there is a difference according to the building code and construction in terms of the access and the entrances and things like that, where an in-law suite can have an internal access, whereas an accessory apartment cannot. They have to have an exterior access to an accessory apartment. So there is a difference in the way they're enforced through the building code, so I think that's an important differentiation.
All right. And I know you were going to mention it in the report, too. We had a little issue getting in here.
Yes, so there's been a change to the security of the building. From what I understand, I'll use the planning board as an example. We meet at 7 o'clock. What's going to happen is when day ends at 4 o'clock here for employees, the doors are going to lock, and they're not going to be accessible unless you have a key fob. The doors will reopen at 6:30, a half an hour before the meeting.
They don't.
I know. I'm just the messenger. This is what's supposed to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
Then
it's government.
Then for any meeting that goes after 9 o'clock, the doors are going to relock at 9 o'clock. And if we go beyond 9 o'clock, we have to prop the door open, because technically we cannot have locked doors during a public meeting. So that's a change.
So that affect early meetings, the 5 o'clock meeting?
Well, from my understanding is we come up with an agenda, we make the agenda, and we forward it to the powers to be that have control of the lock. So then they would look at this, all right, planning board's meeting at 5 o'clock tonight, so they'll set it for 4:30, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, for master plans at 5.
Yeah. All right. And subdivision rules and regulations amendment discussion.
Yeah, so in look at these, we can do this one of several ways. In looking at these, my opinion is that most of the changes that are being recommended are editorial and not substantial and don't require a lot of debate. I do have questions on some of the changes, and because I wasn't involved in these changes, but I know, Mike, one of the more substantial things is grass strips and sidewalks. That's gonna be one of the.
That's also Ken and the highway department.
So you would want them involved in that?
Well, definitely.
Okay.
And the highway department, because they're the ones they're responsible for it once the road's handed over to the town.
Right.
They're the ones that have to deal with it. So Adam, Bruno, and Ken, 100%. They were in all the conversations beforehand.
So, Mr. Chairman, if you would like to, it's a little bit after 8:30. Would you like to start going through the document, Or do you want to set up a separate meeting to go through them? What's the pleasure of the board as far as?
The only thing is, I don't have the document.
I don't either.
Okay.
I don't either.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so that's
I'm
it.
just going to say on, the last revision I have is February 2025.
I added some of my changes in July. I'll get that to you because my changes
on
didn't affect
July, we have-
it didn't affect any, well, I think I put in a previous packet, so I'll get that to you.
Send it via email.
Yeah, I'll send it via email. So the only changes I made were to the number of copies that we get for different things, because I did survey the departments as far as what they require, and it knocks it down a few copies, but it requires more 11 by 17 copies rather than full-size plans, which will save some space and save some paper. So those are basically the crux of the changes I made, was just procedural things. So, okay, so we could put this on for the next agenda. The next agenda is fairly light. I think we have the continued 45 Oak Street discussion and the continued public hearing for the overlay district, but not anticipating substantial discussion on that at this point. So if you want to put it on the next agenda and be ready to kind of just start going through these, we can see how far we get. Mike, would you like me to invite Adam and Ken at this point, or do you want to see how far we get with the discussion?
Ask him what there used to be emails that went between Matt and everybody.
Yeah, I had.
I'm saying used to be, I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
So ask Adam if he might still have copies, and Ken, because they were all involved.
Yep.
And different opinions. There was even photographs, all different scenarios.
I'll check my
Ken
finals.
was with sidewalk widths and this and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, as far as, like I said, when I came in, I had over 12,000 emails, and I just don't have time to go through 12,000 emails. So I just basically started from scratch, and nothing was organized into folders, unfortunately. So I can look at what I have in the end drive, and basically, Adam.
And ask both of them, let them know that discussion's coming back. They will definitely be involved. Okay. I know they want to be.
Because I know if we pass something, a standard in a subdivision, I definitely want the highway superintendent's opinion and recommendation, because at the end of the day, we're handing it to them to maintain.
Correct.
So I want definitely their.
Okay, I'll get that to make sure he's up to date on the changes. So, all right, so we'll put that on the next agenda. We'll start.
And on that aspect, I know the details we're getting down to being very specific. Even the type of concrete, the slope, the whole 9 yards. Reason being, if it's not in black and white, contractor ain't gonna do it. It's that simple, and that's all known. I think the biggest thing that was a variable, and there's two places you can look at either one, is the driveway entrances be concrete or asphalt. If you go to Putnam, they have their driveway entrances concrete. If you go out along Route 20 and other areas, they have asphalt. That way there, if anybody ever repaves their driveway, they can repave their whole driveway. And if the state or town ever repaves the road, they normally cut in. If you have concrete there, you're stuck. You can't do nothing.
Yeah, the apron's different. Yeah.
So that was one open discussion area.
Okay.
Ken had points as far as how many feet, how many expansion joints, the whole deal. So
wow.
There's a lot of, like Ken, if you don't put it in, they're not going to do it.
Right.
And that was the big discussion amongst everybody.
Question. Should this really be about tweaking subdivision rules and regulations, or should it be a deeper dive? If we're ever tweaking them, I don't know that you get the best product.
Well, there's some changes, Rich, definitely, that I saw that are tweaks. There are a couple things like that are more substantial. So it's
construction standards.
Construction standards. So honestly, most of the tweaks probably don't need a lot of discussion. I just have questions on some of the numbers. Okay, where'd you get these? So there's some figures, numbers that have been proposed to be changed. I just have questions as far as where they came from. But yeah, I think there's one or two issues that probably need more discussion than just.
I just thought it would give us an opportunity to research best methods instead of continually doing what we've always done. Like the sidewalks. That's just one point. People are doing great stuff out there, and I just think we could research best methods and really come up with something special.
And again, I'm not familiar with what research was done to come up with the changes.
Yeah, that was a lot with Ken and Adam.
So maybe if we have them in at the next meeting, we can ask them where they, because maybe they did do that research. So I don't know that for a fact.
Thanks. Next meeting.
Any other comments on that before we Move on? Okay. Ongoing development, any updates for any of these projects?
No, I did want to mention, Meg, is it okay if I mention Hawk Hill, the conversation we had?
Do you want me to excuse myself?
No, you don't have to. I just have a question. Meg came into my office the other day because she's getting ready to plant shrubs where she was required to plant shrubs, and I couldn't find any documentation. If someone on the board remembers the conversation about her project and what the purpose and what, was there specifics as far as what type of shrubs and the height and what they needed to be? Does anyone recall that?
Neighbor, down at the bottom of the hill. I think it was just shrubs to prevent headlights shining into his backyard.
Okay.
But I think we can look, there can be looked back into. I do remember the conversation, I just don't remember the specifics.
I don't know the specifics, but I remember it was the guy down at the bottom of the hill there, so that people, when coming down, the headlights kind of shoot in.
The issue is there's no documentation on it, and this project went on for so long, I don't know where to begin as far as what meeting minutes there would be, what year, what month. I can't go through 7 years of meeting minutes, so if anyone has any guidance as far as when this discussion may have taken place.
I can try to...
2 years, I want to say, but 2 years ago.
At least.
Around that.
My time.
When the driveway was done. It was just before that.
I had indicated to, that I would go back and see if I could find under the order of conditions. My concern is that there's not definition around the types of shrubs that need to be placed there, and I have power lines above where they are to be placed, so I want to be careful as to what gets planted.
So if anyone can, if you do your research or dig into your memory and just give me a general guidance as far as, okay, it was roughly around spring of such and such a year.
I remember him being in here. I think he came in for one or two meetings.
Yep.
And it all got hammered out type deal where he was happy with what was going to happen and your parties were happy back then. So it was before you came on the board. I think it was that all went on before you came on the board. Then you came on after the fact, like 6 months or 9 months after the fact. Elections came up, so it would have been maybe the summer before you came on.
What year was that, Mike?
Shit, I don't know when.
2022.
Okay, so summer of 2022. Okay.
Summer. You came on summer, so it'd be 21 then. Was the year?
No, so I think what we need to look for is 2022, because I think I came on, if that discussion was then I came on after that.
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
Yeah, you weren't on the board when this was all coming about.
That was after.
No.
Okay, that helps. So that narrows it down a little bit, so I have about 6 months that I can do that now.
I'd say in that general gist, yeah.
Great, thank you. So
I can try to research it too.
But I think also for our general subdivision discussion, we should probably delineate what does that mean? Like when we're asking people to do that
for what?
Shrub heights and stuff like that.
Well, they're different. Thing is, I don't know if we can delineate that too specifically because there are different reasons, like we discussed. It's like, is it to block headlights? Is it for a sound barrier? Is it for a visual buffer? Like I said, when I was in Stoughton and we had commercial developments on 138, what the board would do is when like a credit union or bank would go in and there was a residential area behind it, they would have a vinyl fence with arborvitaes in front of it to not just, to kind of have a sound barrier for that residential neighborhood. So it's basically depending on the situation, the location. Like you said, you're under power lines, so you can't do something that's too tall.
Through the chair, are the minutes of all these years searchable? Are they in some sort of document where you can go back?
Oh, that's okay. I don't mind. If I have a 6-month time frame, I can just look at the agendas and see when it was on the agenda and then narrow it down.
Something.
I'm sure it wasn't on every agenda for 6 months. Most likely.
A lot of them are online.
And to go back on that, to the chair and stuff about height, I'd like to see if we can, like a punch list when these projects come in, like with the trees that got planted out on 16. It was never mentioned. We said plant trees. They went to Home Depot, you buy 2-foot trees, here you go. Reason being is, on a punch list, we don't have, the board requires a height or this or that. Maybe not a number, but it's mentioned, and so it's brought up, and a lot of times there's a lot going on.
Understand.
And every little detail we don't always catch. And then 6 months later, we go, why didn't we do that? If there was a simple punch list that is, it might be repetitive, but things that are variable, they can be discussed.
There are some mentions of that in the zoning bylaws about the tree caliper, the type and that. And maybe what we need to do is refer back to that a little more.
There is a difference, though, because those are trees that are meant to go in parking lots and things like that. Now, when you're talking about street trees and subdivisions, that can be a little bit of a tricky discussion because, again, I've been in communities where they've changed their subdivisions because does the town want street trees that it ends up having to maintain? Do you want them in the street layout? They've started requiring that they plant street trees, but they put them on the properties of the individual homes, and then it's up to them to maintain those trees. So that's another thing it comes down to is expense and manpower to maintain these things that the town is going to accept.
Correct. Yeah. What I was referring to was more the ones that are in there for aesthetics, the view blocks and the sound blocks and things like that. There are mentions of those in the industrial section. There's a lot of mention about that in there, what's required, like how far from the property line the trees have to be and how high compared to the buildings. But we don't have a document that summarizes all of that, probably because it's too difficult to pull it all together as the other ones change. If you change the zoning bylaws, you don't want to have to go, got to go update that document also. But if we had just a general guideline, a little cheat sheet that we could have at our fingertips to say, okay, this is the basic standard is in this document, and it's pretty much, you can't put white pine trees in as a view block because, they're...
Right, they're not meant for that.
Yeah.
And on the punch list, just like we did that was an operation. I don't know if many of you remember back in the day when that was a big discussion on any projects. When can they run? How early can they start? At what time of the year can they start? What holidays? At one time, nobody could work on any holidays, but a lot of your contractors work on general non-big holidays. So, and that was a big deal. That's why that's entered into a lot of this stuff.
What's difficult with vegetation and landscaping is usually, again, the town of Stoughton did this, they would hold a landscaping bond for one growing season, but beyond that, you can't guarantee landscaping, you can't guarantee trees, you can't guarantee that deers won't eat them. So landscaping is a very moving target. It's very difficult to track, it's very difficult to maintain, it's very difficult for a town, at a certain point, unless it's on a town property, you're kind of just, it's kind of like a parent when your kids grow up, you just kind of have to let it go and hope for the best, So, because, we got pushed back in Stoughton when we try and enforce landscaping requirements on private property like a bank. We got pushed back saying, well, what authorizes you to dictate the landscaping I put on my private property? And the answer would be, well, it's aesthetic. We want these properties on Route 138 to look a certain way. We want them to look good. We don't want them looking terrible after 2 or 3 years. But again, it's a delicate balance.
It's a gray area, but you need a starting point. You need to start off where, like on 16, we should have said 8-foot arborvitaes or something to start off with, where you're starting with something halfway decent. You know what I mean? And not 1.5 tall shrubs.
And you have to enforce them because I've seen developers say, well, I can't get that caliper from any nursery, so they almost force you to accept something lesser, basically claiming that they can't get it. So that's where the board has to be strong and say, no, this is what we need you to do.
And through the chair, in that case too, there was a great buffer there beforehand, and then someone said, hey, they're all going to die, everything there's going to die, and they took it down, and then we were really dependent upon the arborvitaes, and it was, it got away from us. It got away from us.
Learning experience.
Exactly.
All right. Any other updates?
No, that's it.
The only update I kind of had was I did see the village package has been demoed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
boy, boy.
Yeah.
So that project is moving along.
Yes, it is.
All right.
No, Meg, I'm glad you were able to be part of that discussion, so there were no votes taken, so.
And we do have some signatures. We'll pass it around. And open session topics not reasonably anticipated 48 hours in advance of the meeting.
I was going to sneak it out.
Minutes.
Minutes. Minutes? No, I didn't yet.
minutes.
New York minute.
We have minutes for August 13, 2025. Mr. DeRose?
1A, White Court. I don't remember the name Taniel. Is that a mistake?
No, that is the gentleman's name.
Okay, I wanted to make sure.
Because I've been in communication with him.
I didn't remember it, and I wanted to make sure. Okay. The 3A, and this is just English. There's an extra "and" in there where it says, for a grant to get a parking lot area established and access to the backside. I think it should be a comma there because there's an "and" before the kiosk. And it's picky, but hey, you know.
It's proof that you read the minutes
And
thoroughly.
our kids get knocked on it in school.
There you go.
So
I had a planning board member in Framingham that took Dunkin' Donuts to task because they didn't spell the entire word drive-through on their sign. They spelled it THRU, and she was very upset about that.
on 3D, Margaret and Carol, do we need to say who they are?
For the sake, because the general public probably doesn't know who those individuals are.
I don't remember.
So Margaret Bacon and Carol Gogolinsky.
Yeah.
On 6A, after your name, John, went overt the boards.
Overt.
You went overboard.
Okay. Authorized agent.
Yeah.
So is somebody going to mark these comments so I can get them to Jen?
I'll do that.
Okay, great, thank you.
I just don't know the "and" you're talking about.
I have it marked. I'll give you my copy.
Okay. Yeah, and then just circle Margaret and Carol, and then over.
The overt.
Yeah.
And board should have an apostrophe. Right?
And is it 15 Elm Street, AA? Dash special permit?
Accessory apartment.
Okay.
Yes, accessory apartment. That's what it stands for.
And then just under 7, Mike, just circle town in Quabbin. I don't know if that's completely accurate. He talked about a town in Quabbin.
I didn't say which town it was.
But in Quabbin, Quabbin's a reservoir, so I don't know if it's like around Quabbin.
Yeah, near the Quabbin Reservoir. Near.
So in instead of near.
Near.
All right.
Reservoir. Yep. Got it.
All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion to accept the meeting minutes for August 13, 2025 as amended. Made by Mr. DeRose, second by Mr. Kanadik. Any further discussion?
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay. And then with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Made by Mr. Preston, second by Mr. Kanadik. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.